How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the show with another fantastic product. Hope to give you some good products on the show. Not to sell you anything, but except I guess we're selling you on the good word of Hexaco and Pulse Country. Ooh, is that a thing? Have we said that before? Has anyone said that before? Pulse Country. I like that. I like it. Anyways, if you're feeling weak out there, you're feeling down, feeling like your bag should be 10,000x what they are today, well, I don't know, believe harder. Just go do about 15. Oh, chat's already got me cracking up. Go do about 15 dips or so, or I don't know. You should feel pretty strong after vigorous exercise or just getting your believing muscles more pumped up. Got to pump it up. We got to pump it up, everyone. Just pump it up. Pump it up till you can't pump no more. That's better than most of the things I'm hearing out there. Hashtag Goblin Down. Well, we're not doing hashtags anymore. They don't get the reach they do. Actually, I did see what Elon talk about this, where not about hashtags, but what was the thing he mentioned that the algorithm was? Oh yeah, it was about links. Yeah, so I actually did see him opine on links and how. So basically, I'm not sure if there's, again, there's you see the screenshots maybe before of the different rules of the algorithm, different preferences or guidelines that can maximize engagement or diminish it. And so it wouldn't be surprising if that was like a line item on that piece, but it was essentially, the idea would be the algorithm, anything that helps people leave the platform, such as links, such as, YouTube video, like whatever link it could be. So links like would fit into that. I'm not sure it would minimize it, but maybe it wouldn't. Again, it wouldn't help promote it in a way. It wouldn't like give it whatever score. If we're just like abstract, like thinking about these things, that would promote it more. But I feel like it's so annoying to have to. Like I tried it the other day with Go Real DeFi /PulseChainapp.com, and I tried it. Like I made the post and then I put the link in the reply to it. And it was just like, I don't know. I didn't really notice a difference. And that's these things. You hear these things and everyone's like, oh, no, you got to go do these things. These are the right way to do it. And it's just, I don't know, it's just guesses. These are just like hearsay guesses. Even Elon talked about it. It's kind of like, there's no detail. There's no resolution to that. It was just kind of like, yeah, the algorithm's going to do that. It's not like, oh, yeah, the algorithm's going to do it. That could be correct. Is it going to do it? Is it going to reduce your score from a 95 on the post? Everything else is good. From a 95, but if you put a link in it, it goes down to like a 92, and it's only like 3% difference or something, or 3 to 5% difference. Does the trade-off between the experience of not being able to see a post, click a link, versus see a post, scroll down, click a link, is that worth the engagement trade-off if there is even that small difference? So just give you an idea of how I think about these things. I'm still putting links in there. I'm not gonna, as of today, who knows what happens in the future, but as of today, I don't see a big deal in either not putting links in the post at all or making them not clickable by putting separating the period. You've seen like, with pump.tires, for example, you would do pump, actually literally spelling it out, pump.tires or pump dot space tires, stuff like that. I've seen Richard do it before too. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of this stuff is guessing and it's not really, maybe it's testing, maybe it's guessing, maybe there is a difference, but it's not that much. And the user experience that comes from it is not worth the trade-off, I would say, a lot of times too. My posts get plenty of views. Like when I post something that people like, it can get thousands of views. It doesn't need, or like regardless if it has a link in it or has other stuff. So anyways, I'll start it off with that. Not really about the path forward for PulseChain, unless you're interested in content creation and curious about how to navigate that. But say out to the chat before we get into it. Got some pretty fun stuff to talk about. Not a long stream to do it in. Red Squirrel, number one again. How's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. Tam, welcome. The catcher of dips, who's flexing. He's flexing out there, flexing with the net. We'll hear more about that on Monday or Tuesday, one of those. He's on the schedule, I think. Maybe it's Tuesday. Yeah, if you haven't seen the schedule, there is a pre-final schedule And if you want to speak at a conference and you haven't submitted yet, then you know what to do. I feel like I've talked about it. I try to not, my followers, my subs, I try not to just drown you out with the same stuff. I try to talk about different things a lot. And I try not to do conference updates every day, although some days are more notable than others on that. So hope you appreciate that. That's what I was laughing about earlier. First comment from X. First comment. Which is kind of funny, actually. I don't remember seeing it, the pun made in that way for PulseChain. Okay, well. It could feel that way sometimes. Like I said, there's plenty of options to pump it up. I like dips, pull-ups, running, sports, creating, imagining a brighter future, making contribution. Now, Big Jacks could have done all of these things already. Could be a huge positive force on PulseChain and just want to make a joke. So let's go with that. That's a positive way of looking at it, right? Positive trolling, positive just comments from time to time. So appreciate it. Shout out to Big Jacks. Hope you're doing well out there. Hope your dreams come true on the PulseChain. Duke, how's it going, man? Welcome. News, gaming, and reviews with a PulseChain gradient. Probably PulseChain related on that stuff. How's it going? Sale in May is here. Well, honestly, I don't care. If everyone sells in May and they go away, then that rhymes. So I'm more curious about what happens after May. Much more curious about what happens after May than what happens in April or March, or like I said, the same thing in January. I don't care what happens in January 2025. Much more interested in what happens near the end of the year. So will there be a spring sell-off? Hey, that's two words to start with the same letter. And will there be a summer summit? Oh, that's two other words that sound positive. Yeah. So I think, Corey? I saw Corey Gary to say stay in May or hold it. What was it? How do you say it? Something like, maybe you heard it somewhere too. It was, I don't know, stay around in May. And then I forget what it was, but that one sounded more interesting. How's it going, Shawnee B? Welcome. I think we summit in fall. That would be very unsurprising if we summited in fall. 4 Year Cycle says that. All people believe it, don't believe it. It's a thing, though. It is a thing. All right, so a few interesting things to talk about. We talking about practice. No, just kidding. We're not talking about practice. We talking about Richard Hart. First topic, Interpol. Isn't that a word you never want to hear again? But in the meantime, been some pretty interesting things. A lot of people are reading into, actually, let me go to the post that I made, which was about, look at that bull. Look at that bull. I like that bull. Let's see. By the way, conference real quick. There are some backgrounds. It's totally optional if you want to use it. Again, shout out to Pulse Wave Vibe for doing artwork and contributing and making some donations there. Not only do they got thumbnails, I think some of these can be used for backgrounds and stuff as well. So try them out. Feel free to use them. Again, optional. You can use whatever background you want, but these kind of go with the theme of the conference. So check that out. And let's see what else. Yeah, see, even here, I separated it, pumped out tire, put a space in between. Look, 884. Now, was that because if I would have made the link, would I have gotten 684? I doubt it. So, actually, there is a link in it too. So I already got the link. If I would have not posted a link, if I would have put it in the replies, would I have gotten 1,008? It's just, I don't think these trade-offs are as Peter Thiel likes to say, I think it's over-determined. These trade-offs, these X algo tricks are over-determined. By the way, still looking for, there's only one TBD in the entire schedule. So I'm going to start going, man. I'm hoping somebody new will come in and do it. If not, maybe I'll ask one of the speakers who are already speaking. There's plenty of qualified people that can do this too. But I'm looking for pump tires in 15 minutes or less. Already got a PulseX in 15 minutes or less. I got an ink. Already got a PulseChain. Plenty of hex content, but a pump tires in 15 minutes or less. Just a lightning talk, 15 minutes. Talk about pump tires. Do a demo, whatever if you want. Please reach out. I'll put it in the chat. Or reach out as in apply if you're interested, because I would like to see that content. I think that would be good at the conference to make some content around that. And lots of people. We got Product Pie guys, Van and Chris and all of them as well. And then what's that scrolling to? Oh yeah, so this one. So this is the one, a lot of people are speculating about Interpol and the charity and nonprofit and all that stuff too. I think that this was a pretty good one. I kind of put this in, framed it a little bit in AI. Got to talk about it a little bit here too. So I guess one of the things for PulseChain, a lot of people are interested in getting out of the way, or maybe some people think it matters more or less or whatever. We could beat the SEC, so I feel like that was the big gorilla. This one seems much easier to go away. If there was a way to, some strategy around it, it seems like much. I don't know. I would think it's much faster than the 18 months or so the SEC was trying to go after PulseChain and all that stuff. But I asked it, based on this tweet, based on some framing, based on founder doing sacrifice. Good. I kind of explain what sacrifice is and all that stuff too. So mentioned of registered charity or nonprofits. This is key takeaways from the post. Suggest a desire to associate with or operate through an entity tax exempt status. Again, all this maybe to me it just sounds so obvious because I've just been listening to Richard for a long time and I've seen all these things and I do see things through an optimistic light, rational but optimistic light a lot of times. But obviously, if you think Richard had any inkling the SEC could be going after crypto projects and his would be in the crosshairs, wouldn't you set it up in a way that would be strategic? And there's no way of it harming things in the long term, right? Like, okay, they may come after PulseChain, may come after Richard and all that, but in the end, they wouldn't win because everything is done again by the books, not doing anything wrong, that type of thing. So again, this is talking about desire to associate with or operate through an entity with tax exempt status. Could imply a strategy argued that the funds raised as sacrifice were charitable or public benefit, so not personal income. I think that's key on this. The whole, Finland, Interpol, Red Notice stuff. Honestly, a lot of it could go away soon. It could go away 3 to 6 months from now. I think this is, it definitely could. Who knows if it's directly towards it? Again, it's very vague, as usual, these types of things on purpose. But I think it really could point towards stop freaking out over this. Stop doubting the king. Stop acting like billionaire founder genius guy is not what the words that I just said. Billionaire, founder, big brain, genius, that type of thing. And if he's not a genius, he's close to it than most people. So how about let's just say smart guy, did smart thing, has smart intentions with money, and why wouldn't he set it there's been so much speculation over time that why wouldn't Richard had set it up, everything, whether it's the OA stuff, whether it is SAC stuff, whether it is whatever money, why would it ever fall under his personal income? Unless, why wouldn't most of it, or all of it, not be in a very tax strategic way? So if you think about it that way, it's almost laughable that anyone would, again, knock on wood, but anyone would try to, accuse Richard of tax fraud. I feel like I've heard him say so many times on the streams too, pay your taxes, don't do anything wrong there. I think he's very well aware of that stuff. And why wouldn't he be? If you've been rich forever and you got good people around you advising you, and you're already smart, then why wouldn't you set it up in a way that just makes sense and all this stuff? So I don't know, that never made sense to me that he would, that there would be these simple, oh, gotcha. It's what are you talking about? Why wouldn't rich, smart people set things up where they would be doing things above board and not putting anything at risk? And even when, they get hit with a punch, it's easy to defend type of deal. So whether he's talking about this or not, I mean, whether this post never existed or not, I think it's pretty easy to take that as something that could be happening. And we're speculating, but boy, it's like, if looking back in hindsight, if that's what it is, it could be super obvious. It's just like, do you want to believe that? Do you want to believe like this worst case scenario? Oh no, they're going to get him on tax. Like, come on. Got been around the block. So discounts for such activities could refer to tax exemptions or relief for charitable activity, hinting at tax angle in play. So again, tax angle. Spread the good word about freedom and source software. Tries to position the crypto project as socially beneficial and possibly qualifying for nonprofit status. So there's a couple different angles. Like, it could be set up in a way that is meant for that, or it could be set up in a way that it could qualify for that as needed. So it could already be totally qualifying the funds or otherwise as tax exempt, for example. Or it could be, if that's challenged, or it could be set up in a way that it's easy to defend if that's challenged. That's what I'm getting from it. Who might know someone, very informal hypothetical phrasing, possibly suggesting early stage exploration rather than concrete progress. I don't know. I feel like that one's kind of probably less, I don't know. That's just maybe the AI kind of like guessing at, let's see, let me read the post real quick. So I wonder who is registered charity similar type of non-entity that may have spread a good word about open source software. Here, many catch up discuss for such activities. Who might know someone? And yeah, I mean, this could literally have nothing to do with SAC. Even though, again, even if this has nothing to do with the SAC funds and whatever else funds like that, it could literally be about their, I don't know. Let's just purely speculate here. A PulseChain, a foundation supporting PulseChain, from Richard and the devs and stuff like that. Outside of the community projects and all that. It could be just literally getting a nonprofit to start organizing and marketing for PulseChain. So literally, it's like a way of like asking without asking, like, do you know any nonprofits who could be funded or could be just influenced to talk about, PulseChain stuff without saying free and open source software, of course. Like, that sounds like air software, right? And so maybe it's just really a call to the community to do that. It could mean both too. Again, this is like the code. This is like the speaking through the blockchain. This is a very vague, non-specific kind of, you can read into it 5 different angles. It could literally be talking about both. It could be like, oh yeah, the money's already tax-free, and you should go do outbound marketing. And who might know someone? I think that's just pointing to like, start anyone who, it's just like networking, right? It's like trying to get people who could refer people to start commenting in the thread, right? So now the comments and stuff on. So it could be that. So now it says tax-based defense strategy. This may indicate an attempt to retroactively frame the fundraising as a charitable fundraising. It's meaning the sacrifice here as charitable, non-taxable, possibly to challenge or mitigate tax fraud allegations. And the legal CR piggling could be a soft PR illegal signal the defense is being mounted and the legitimate framework for project is being emphasized. And the lack of direct confirmation, there's no explicit mention of progress, discussions with authorities, or resolution underway. So hard to say, but those are a couple things I think are pretty interesting from it. So chat, I know you're probably being quiet because you're intently listening, if I were to imagine, but what do you all think about that? Like, I'll circle back to it in a minute, but I think that is one thing. So like, what happens with that? What happens if Interpol does go away now or a few months from now? Does that mean Richard streams? I don't know. I think, let's say, I feel like that is the one thing. So the macro environment, to me, the macro environment and the legal stuff, again, which is a big chunk of it's already went away, is the reason it's not streaming. However, What if it goes away and he doesn't stream? To me, that would just be like, I think he really wants to stream on momentum. I think by that time, if there is some, marketing plan or strategy or otherwise it gets kicked into place, I think it'll just kind of come together. At that time, it'll be like, oh, all these good things start happening. And that is the momentum that kicks off this next phase of whatever updates and streaming. And, people start liking that and start deploying capital and all that stuff. I think it'll come together. Like, I think that would make sense for it to come together. But what if he doesn't stream again? That's the piece. Like, do we need him to stream? Again, he's the biggest marketer we have. Even tweeting is extremely valuable. Imagine if he wasn't using X this whole time. Like, would you still be around? I think it's a really good question. If Richard literally hadn't posted other than like once a year or twice a year for the past 2 years, would you still be around? Like, hasn't he done a lot by just literally posting, again, maybe having something to do with new things launching or not, like whatever it is? That's a pretty big contribution. I mean, yeah, let's not forget that. So he has been active in that way. So, but does he stream? Like, I know we're, DCC, remember during the stream we did in Vegas and stuff, which was awesome. I remember talking about like we are a streaming community. Richard kind of, built that as like the sense I got from it too. I think the only thing, I mean, again, I would love to see him come back and start streaming, but I just don't think that if he didn't, I don't know. It almost seems like if he's communicating and the community is not, is in good shape, like, and we have reasons to be motivated to keep going, right? Like, not everyone has different reasons, but obviously some people are more motivated now, and some people are much less motivated now. But green candles tend to motivate a lot of people. So if we see some green candles, and whether or not Rich is streaming, if he's communicating, devs are launching new stuff, I think we get the momentum with or without him streaming. Streaming is just cherry on top. Streaming is like, wow, we are in, like, if there's a way to get to beast mode, like that would be, maybe that's like the beast mode type of thing. But again, I just don't think he's going to stream if it's the prices are just down and there's no momentum to ride. I think he, again, purely speculate. I could see it being, there's momentum here. I'm able to, it's safe to, all that stuff. And now, it goes full Moses. We're crossing the Red Sea. The Red Sea is the analogy with the moon, though. We're crossing outer space. We're going all the way to Pluto. Forget Mars. Forget Venus. We're going all the way to Pluto. We're talking about Pluto. So I think that's one piece. So the Interpol, I think that's important to see some kind of resolution. I think that I would deem that as more important than less important as far as ball getting rolling, as far as public appearances, not live appearances, all that stuff. And then the streaming piece, what if he does, what if he doesn't? And then the SAC funds, I think that's another piece too for PulseChain. A lot of people are looking, if you go into look into RH.com, literally a SAC fund tracker here. We're at about 300 million, down from the entry price. Again, I said so many times, I don't consider that important, being down on a trade that's not complete. The trade isn't complete until, if this gets sold for 300 million, then to me, the trade is complete and it lost 50%. If this gets sold for 1.5 billion, then the trade is complete and there was, a profit made. Or number go up at least. Profit's an interesting word, but so until then, looking at it on paper, it's not booked. It's not a booked loss. So I'm not. It's irrelevant what that looks like at this point in time. Again, we're in April, not fall, not winter, not early 2026. So will it get rotated in? you can go in all the different directions of like how we get rotated in or why we get rotated in. But like, what if it doesn't get rotated in? I think that's an interesting way to look at it. What if it just doesn't, okay, let's break it down a little bit. So what if it gets bridged in, but untouched? As far as actively untouched, maybe it gets bridged in, provide liquidity at some point, or it gets bridged in to fund some function on PulseChain. But it doesn't get like market, it's not used for like market buying, stuff like that. Or maybe it just sits there. Maybe it literally just sits in ETH until, maybe it just never touches PulseChain. It goes into other ETH protocols and just nothing happens, right? Like it just doesn't. I mean, again, this is like I don't think that's a likely scenario. I think that, hey, it's there for a reason. It can totally be used for a lot of good in the ecosystem. What that good is, we've speculated a lot before. Supporting the price, supporting the network, whatever it could be. So I think it'll be, if it happens, it'll be strategic. But what if it just never comes in? But we have, all the legal stuff away. We have macro conditions good. We have the prices going up. We have this, we have, again, retail is here. They want to buy something. We have the loudest, we have loud megaphones on PulseChain. We got all these creators. We're able to onboard people, start compounding, multiplying. Richard's tweeting. Richard's maybe doing videos, whether or not he's live streaming. But we have plenty of marketing. We start getting X's. We start attracting more builders. And again, it's this compounding effect without needing hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars if ETH go up a lot to come directly into PulseChain to make the price go up. What if it just doesn't come? What if it comes in, but comes in a way that's not direct? It is like a total support instead of a green candle deal. That's another scenario too. Catcher. Arch is going to put it all on the FlexNet. What if it goes all into FlexNet and Hex on Ethereum? We have actually, that's one question I was asked if Catcher why he's here. Is there a way to, would there be some sort of bridge? I know it's L2, but it's like, is there some sort of bridge from PulseChain to FlexNet? Like, is there some kind of like, in this, again, funny hypothetical scenario of RH actually put it in the FlexNet or rotated into EHEX and like pumped EHEX? Is there a synergistic effect that could be FlexNet, could be with PulseChain? I think that'd be an interesting question to explore, like half serious and half joking of like, I wonder, if those things, there could be some synergy between them. And other than, making EHEX great again and supporting that and stuff too. So I don't know. I think being objectively looking at these and seeing what if the SAC rate funds get rotated in? What if they don't get rotated in? What if they get rotated in 2 or 3 years from now? What if they just sit there in Ethereum and sit there to the next cycle? They maybe get placed in yield again. Remember when they like staked in like SDI or something for a while? What if they just don't? What if they're just there as a type of war chest, or there as a just a place to grow and a place to show that there's always a well over here, kind of like the OA. I guess the passive argument, kind of like the OA, which obviously OA hasn't been super passive lately, but for a long time, very, very passive, right? What if it is one that OA hadn't made any moves or any, let's say, huge moves for years? Correct me if I'm wrong. Before the last few, in the last couple months or so. So what if it becomes that? I mean, I don't think we need SAC rates funding. I don't think we need RH streaming again. I think honestly the Interpol thing seems to be the most immediate, interesting one that could get traction, because that would at least allow people to speculate their RH is free to do this or that, or at least free to be, go back to the castle, start streaming, build a new castle, like whatever. That kind of thing. And I think for products and stuff too, like another question is like, what if there's just no more, what if this is it? Like, what if the official, there's pump.tires again. You could say, is that official, not official, whatever. Especially lately, everyone's like, oh, that doesn't appear. Some of the devs are commenting like, don't know who owns it and all that stuff too. Although it's very highly promoted by RH and folks. As far as community projects, we had talk about the wallet. What if we see the wallet? What if we don't see the wallet? What if we don't see any more new products? What if it's just PulseChain, PulseX? They get just minor upgrades from time to time. And it is just sort of like, all right, things are waiting, things are here. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's more, maybe he's just picking and choosing what to build, what to release, waiting to see what the community builds. So there is plenty of motivation, because think about it. If he builds everything, then if like literally every product, if RH starts forking everything from ETH and launching them as official projects on PulseChain from PulseChain devs, what are our builders going to do, right? Like, a big thing about motivation, alignment, stay in the ecosystem, promotion, organic growth is having meat on the bones for a new network for people to build on. So imagine if you just like build all this stuff, PulseChain launches and you got all the different forks of all the products of all the popular community stuff already built on PulseChain. Good. What are we going to be doing? What are the builders going to do? What you're going to severely limit the pieces that can be built. For what reason? Like, why would RH build everything? I know there's certain things that are strategic. Again, you could say walled garden, just like Apple, right? They got the operating system, they got the hardware, they got the services, they got this, walled garden, vertical integration, all that stuff. But they don't build everything. They don't build every app you download. They don't, a lot of that stuff, they let vendors, other companies and stuff build them. So imagine he built everything and released it. Now nobody's building, and even more people are just sitting back and waiting for the price to go up. Skin in the game, it's very important. So I don't think that's a piece either. I think I could totally see, again, it all makes sense if you look at it, instead of looking at it with red candle syndrome, and look at it in a positive light and be like, okay, let's lay this out. If you were a billionaire founder, genius guy, in it for glory, and you're building an ecosystem, and sacrifices all this stuff. Again, I'm not saying anyone's perfect. I'm not saying things could be done better here and there. I don't think we can all just speculate on that, because we don't know the full story. We haven't seen everything play out, and there could be things that look like they're not going well now, and then later it's like, oh wow, so glad we did that. So glad that happened. So glad the P copies happened, because there's some amazing thing that happens with them later on once we get the fever going on PulseChain. Just an example. So there's all these things we just don't know, and I think positively, objectively speculating is just more. Again, it feels good. It's more interesting, and it helps people like kind of grasp what's possible in this network and what's possible in this community, rather than just sitting on their butt and keyboard warrior and fudding their own bags. I've never seen so many people fud. I could not. 2 years ago, before PulseChain launched, I know it was getting like, oh, everyone's super antsy. I don't know if y'all remember that. That was crazy times too. Can I imagine so many people just, and I get it, like there's an explanation for it, but like just fudding their own bags, getting wrecked on these stupid things, playing these stupid games. And it's just like, again, I think everything works out the way it's supposed to be. But boy, I hope there's some very good lessons learned in this. And like, you don't have to be perfect to try to do your best. Like, I don't know. Maybe some people's best is just that, but I don't know. I hope to see more people step up and start inspiring other people, and really start to get the focus on winning again. And, instead of when people post positive stuff, it's like, dreamer, loser, wrecked. Worst chain ever, going down and to the right forever. I didn't even look at the chat till now. Yeah, like whatever it is, instead of saying that and just being disgruntled and just like giving up, try the other way for a while. I know it takes, again, do some, go out, take a walk, take a shower, start thinking about a better version of the future and start thinking about what happens. How good is it going to feel to know that you won? And if things do turn around, not even turn around, things aren't even like going backwards right now. Just things are just, to me, they're just kind of like neutral. They're just not going full speed ahead. They're just kind of like chugging. We're hitting some speed bumps. Yeah, stuff sucks here and there, but it's not enough suck to really, to me, it just doesn't matter that much. It's like, to me, it's all part of the game. It's all part of the experience. It's all part of getting there. Cliche. It's not supposed to be easy. Yeah. It hasn't been easy. You can acknowledge that and still push on. Go kick some ass. So let's do it. Let's do it. That's all I got for you today. Appreciate you all. Scivive and 5555. We are out.